Oh no, I've neglected the monster for weeks. I hope it's not dead. We're out of control. Looks pretty good. Hello everybody, Amateur Planter here, and we're here to take a look at the spiderwort, the Tradescantia, the wandering goo! It's okay, I can say that because I do wander from time to time. So, people seem to be afraid of this plant. It's often marketed towards beginner growers as like beginner friendly, low light, all that kind of stuff. So you think it's easy to grow, but then it quickly gets out of hand and people freak out and they throw it away. I actually gave one of these to my sister, and she called me about 2 weeks later and was like, please take this thing back. I don't know what to do with it. It looked terrible, but it's really actually quite easy to take care of. This one, as you can see, is sitting way up on this bar kind of thing here on the top shelf. We've got one Sansi grow light up there, and it's one of those small, I think 10 watt Sansi grow lights. It's not the 15 clip-ons, but just the 10 watt, and it's about 8 feet probably, maybe even 10, but yeah, probably like 10 feet away from the nearest window, which is on the other side of the camera. And that is an eastern facing window, but there is an overhang, so it doesn't really get direct view of the sky. However, I'd say 90% of the light probably comes from that grow light right there, that Sansi 10 watt, and it's doing really well. And I think that's one of the keys to this Tradescantia right here, is that you don't want to give it too much light. It will get out of hand, as well as the fact that it doesn't really need a lot of light. It's really easy to maintain when it's not growing at like an exponential rate. So just to kind of keep it under control, it's good to kind of put it in a low light place, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it can't have any light whatsoever. But we'll get more to that here in a little bit. I do just kind of want to talk about, I've got a few things written here off camera. Varieties, yes, there are many varieties. The Tradescantia family has, I guess, also known as spiderwort, also known as that third name that we won't discuss anymore because it's 2026 and that name came from centuries ago, I'm sure. And I don't want to get in trouble on YouTube. The Tradescantia family has many varieties. The most common are definitely going to be your basic one like this. And then there's the Nanook, which has like bigger leaves, has more pinker colors, and then lighter greens as well. And what else? There's like the purple one. There's actually a bunch of different ones. But the main three that you're gonna see at your big box stores are gonna be like this one right here, the Nanook, and then the purple, whatever it's called. Actually, I think I'll throw up an image of it. Hilarious enough, we actually will bring up the J word one more time, because if you go on Amazon, you'll see that they're selling cuttings of Tradescantia. It's called 15 Jew cuttings. Okay, let's just talk about real fast, maybe like a philosophy of why you would have this plant in your home. You know, say it's not exactly the easiest to control. It's not exactly beginner friendly. If you have the time though, I mean, it's really easy just to kind of prune here and there and kind of shape it. You will see that there are actually very few dead leaves on this plant. A lot of people end up with dead leaves, especially like the older ones will die off real quick. But again, I think the main thing about that is just kind of keeping it sort of bushy, like tight. You prune the edges from time to time, which I haven't actually done in a while. And that's one reason for this video, because we're gonna go in closer and do a little pruning. I think with the lower lighting, but adequate lighting, if that makes any sense. Probably not. Let me try that again. You're not giving it too much lighting, like I was saying earlier, so it's not getting completely out of control. It's easy to keep sort of that shape, and as well as the fact that it's not getting too lanky either, which is really nice. That's one thing about these, is that if you have it in too low of a light situation, like if that light wasn't up there and it was just getting a little bit of light from this window that's 10 feet away, it would probably get really lanky. It wouldn't be as bushy. It wouldn't have as many leaves. The leaves wouldn't be big like this right here. So yeah, what else we got? So basic care. Basic care is really easy, kind of like what I was getting to throughout this whole video so far. I water this thing maybe once a month. You don't want to overwater it. I have it in this little like wood box thing I got from IKEA. No, not IKEA, sorry, from the Container Store, I think. I spray painted it that lovely gray color, neutral gray color, and put it up here in this shelf here. And so I think that, you know, just sort of having it be able to kind of grow throughout the shelves, which kind of support like the extra growth. I think that kind of helps with making sure that certain vines like this over here stay nice and healthy and they're not drooping over too much. Once obviously it does get a little too heavy, it will droop down, but that's pretty cool looking. We are gonna prune a little bit here because I want to get too out of control yet. I do want it to kind of hang down a little bit, but I want to prune it first, and so that way it'll be a little bit bushier before it starts transcending down. So yeah, and then by the way, with those cuttings, propagation is extremely simple. You can obviously just throw it in some soil. You don't need any kind of rooting hormone. You don't really even need to pay attention to it too much, as long as the soil kind of stays moist. It doesn't even have to stay that moist. Like with a lot of other propagations, you can kind of let the soil, you can neglect it. This is a plant that definitely can be neglected, just for not that long, because it will get out of control, or, you know, a lot of leaves I think will kind of start to turn brown if it dries out too much, that kind of stuff. But like I said, once a month I water this thing, and then if you want to take the cuttings and you want to stick them inside the soil on top, you can do that. Again, just make sure that it stays kind of moist. However, I think it's pretty bushy up there, and I'm probably not going to do that whenever we do some propagating here. Or actually, I'm not going to do any propagating at all because I don't need any more of this. It's doing just fine. So yeah, anything else? Not really. Cool. Let's move in for a closer look, and I think you'll see it's doing really well. There's not a lot of dead leaves. We are going to kind of clean up some of those dead leaves, take some cuttings, throw the cuttings away. I'm not going to do anything with them. So just prune it. I'm not going to take cuttings. And yeah, that's going to be about it. So give me one sec. Looks pretty good. Okay. So this guy right here, upon closer inspection, again, not too many dead leaves. Got one right here. We got one right here. They just kind of come off pretty easily whenever they're nice and brown and crispy. But if they've got some live tissue on there, be careful when you're pulling them off, because they can definitely damage the rest of the vine. These vines are pretty fragile for sure. But yeah, I'm just kind of taking off really just a few leaves. I don't really even see that many that are looking that bad. So I was actually gone for 2 weeks, and I think on a very much needed vacation. And about 2 weeks before that, I did not at all take a look, take one look at this plant. So for about a month, I'd say, I haven't even touched this plant. I did just water it though when I got back home. And so far, I mean, not that many dead leaves. This is about it right here. Like a half dozen. I got one more. Going in. All right. This one right here, it doesn't look that great, so I'm gonna go take that one. But it was a tiny little one, and it still had a lot of live tissue on it, but it was starting to die off. Let's see, one more over here. Again, just be very careful when you're like poking and prodding around in here, because I have definitely knocked off a bunch of good looking vines just because I'm trying to get some dead leaves out. For example, there is one more dead leaf way back in there. I think I'm just gonna leave it because I don't wanna stick my hands in there too much. We can, however, reach in there with this right here. So let me go and just set these down. So as far as shaping this thing up, I mean, mostly kind of what I want to pay attention to actually right now is sort of what's here on top. So for example, this guy right here, it's growing, gosh, I don't even know if I want to shape this thing up at all. It's growing so nicely. I don't want to destroy it. I was thinking I had this whole idea for this video. I'm gonna like tidy this thing up and show you guys the process, but maybe not. Maybe I'm just gonna let this thing ride. Ride, Sally, ride. There you go. It's a good name for it, Sally. Sally Ride. But yeah, upon further inspection, I don't know if I want to really mess with this thing at all. Like, this guy's hanging down, so I'll probably cut this one. And we're gonna actually go kind of high to cut it. Maybe like right up here. And with this one cutting, it's actually quite a few, trying to untangle it there. It's quite a few, you know, cuttings right here. If you want to propagate them, you can basically just cut them every few inches, and then plant them. These things root so quickly, like really within a couple of weeks at the most is like really where you just got to keep the soil moist. But if you want to go in and propagate, go for it. You know, I might kind of put this one over here because I kind of want it to sort of trail along that shelf right there. So yeah, that might be cool. Instead of cutting that one, I'm just gonna let it sort of trail. This right here is an extra bourbon glass that I don't use, so I don't mind if they kind of grow around that. But yeah, we kind of have these vines sort of weaving in and out of the posts and the shelving, so it looks pretty good. So yeah, I don't know. There's not much else to say. This thing looks amazing. Like I said, I mean, don't be afraid of these Tradescantias. They can get out of control. They can be a menace. They can be kind of hard to maintain, but if you just sort of keep a general, you know, shaping of it, if you keep a general pruning process of it, it's just a tiny little bit of a dead tip of a leaf. I don't want to cut off the whole leaf, but you know, all in all, again, don't overwater this thing. Don't water it too much. Water it like once a month. Stick it in a place that doesn't get a lot of light. Go and stick yourself a little tiny light on top of it if you want, and water it like once a month. How much easier can it get? Seriously. A lot of people are very afraid of this plant, but it is actually a very easy plant to maintain and also to propagate. You don't need a lot of fertilizer. I do give this thing, I guess I'll speak a little on that, is that I do give this thing the same amount of fertilizer that I give pretty much all of my plants. Maybe one day I'll do a video on how I fertilize, because I keep it very basic and very similar for all plants in general. So I'll show you that maybe someday. But yeah, so this just gets basic fertilizer, nothing too special. So I guess that's gonna be about it. I don't really know what else to say other than go out and, you know, get yourself one, put it up on the top tall shelf or something like that where it doesn't get a lot of light, and enjoy. You know, it's a pretty cool centerpiece, actually, I will say, for this bar. So I really like it up here a lot. And that's gonna do it. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.